Dads, want to turn your commute or coffee break into the most heartwarming 15 minutes of your day? Well, you come to the right place. 15 Minutes with Dad is a podcast celebrating the joys and the challenges of fatherhood. Each episode is packed with expert advice, personal stories, and practical tips. Check out our 4 series, the Fatherhood Podcast, the Healing Series, Fatherhood Speaks, and a Dad's Lighthouse, where we provide mental health insights. Join our community on Discord and Patreon for exclusive chats and support. 15 Minutes with Dad is more than a podcast. It's a movement for stronger families and lasting legacies. Subscribe now or visit 15minuteswithdad.com. Let's build a legacy of dads having a loving presence together. Hey, what's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of 15 Minutes with Dad, the podcast where we dive deep into what it means to be an impactful father. I'm your host, Lirec Williams, and today we are kicking off a powerful new series called 7 Steps to Child-Centered Co-Parenting. This episode, we're starting with step 1, the foundation of successful parenting. Whether you're navigating the challenges of shared parenting or you're looking for ways to better communicate with your co-parent for the sake of your child, this is for you. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to 15 Minutes with Dad on all your favorite podcast platforms. That's Spotify, Apple, Deezer, any kind of place that you listen to podcasts and more. Also, make sure to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content, and more conversations like this. And you can find us at 15 Minutes with Dad on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Or visit us online at 15 Minutes with Dad for resources, episode highlights, and some new gear. And one last thing. We've just launched a weekly live call-in segment called Dad Let's Chat, where you can call in with your questions and stories every Friday night. So mark your calendars for some real-time advice and discussions. That's Friday at 6:30 each and every week. Now let's jump into step 1 of co-parenting, the key to getting on the same page with your co-parent. Let's get started. Hey, yo, I'm so excited to bring you guys this 7 key steps to child-centered co-parenting series because I've been in many groups where I've heard fathers having issues surrounding around co-parenting. And I think that even for my journey as a father and being as a single father for a huge chunk of it is like, yo, it is tough when you first have that separation and you have to figure out all these different nuances. So let's dive into the most crucial step in child-centered co-parenting, and that's communication, right? Now, I know we've all heard it 1,000 times. Communication is key. But when it comes to co-parenting, this couldn't be more true. It's not just about talking. It's about listening, understanding, and finding a way to work together for the best interest of your child. And that's where it gets difficult. This journey is more than just splitting duties. It's about building bridges, healing, and laying the foundation for a future where your children thrive in the warmth of your unified support. And when emotions are high and the past is complicated, it can be hard to have open and honest conversations with your co-parents. I mean, let's be real. Co-parenting often brings a lot of emotional baggage, right? Whether it's unresolved feelings or just the stress of raising a child separately, communication can feel like a battlefield. But here's the thing. Effective communication sets a tone for every interaction, decision, and boundary you set for your child. Without it, the whole co-parenting dynamic can fall apart. And guess what? The one who feels the impact the most are kids. So today, we're going to explore how you can build a strong communication foundation with your co-parent, even if you don't always see eye to eye. Because the truth is, you don't have to be best friends with your co-parent to communicate effectively. What matters is that you're both committed to raising your child in a healthy, supportive environment. And that starts with how you talk to and listen to each other. We're going to break this key into 3 key areas of communication that can make all the difference. First, we'll talk about strategies for clear, positive, and effective communication because let's face it, nothing works without mutual understanding. Then we'll talk about the importance of active listening and empathy in co-parenting. I know sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how much we'd miss when we're not truly paying attention. And finally, we're going to finish this thing off by giving you some practical tips for establishing regular communication routines. Whether you're just starting this journey of co-parenting or you already deep into it and looking to improve, we got you covered. Now that we've set the stage with the importance of communication, let's talk about how to actually do it. We all know communication can be tricky, especially when co-parenting is involved. But clear, positive, and effective communication is truly the linchpin of successful co-parenting. When both parents are on the same page regarding their child's needs and well-being, the whole co-parenting journey becomes a lot smoother. So what are the strategies that can help you communicate in a way that keeps things constructive? Let's break them down one by one. First up, use I statements. Now, this one is huge. Instead of starting a conversation with, you never stick to the schedule, you never this, you never that, which always puts the other person on the defensive, try flipping it around to express your own feelings and needs. Something like, I feel concerned when you don't agree on bedtime schedules. See the difference? Or, I feel that when you don't drop the kids off where you said you was going to drop them off, that it causes conflict and it makes me upset because I have to switch up my entire day. You're focusing on the perspective without placing blame. This keeps the conversation open and productive rather than turning it into an argument. So use I statements. I mean, I know for in my life and when I was younger, I did this terribly and we had fights all the time because I would always say, you ain't do this right, and you couldn't do this, and you didn't do that. And it makes the person reflect on themselves, and nobody really likes accountability, and I do that. So next, let's go to the next one. The next one is be specific and direct. No one's a mind reader, and ambiguity can lead to unnecessary confusion. If you need something from your co-parents, be clear about what that is, why it's important, and how it benefits your child. For example, instead of vaguely saying, we need to talk about school, try, I'd like to discuss our approach to homework to make sure we're both consistent with expectations. The more precise you are, the less room there is for misunderstanding, and cooperation becomes a lot easier. And in my personal life, back when my daughter was younger and I had to co-parent with her mom, it was absences, dropping her off at school. And at times, like, I didn't use this, and I'm telling you this is what I've learned. I didn't use these things. This is what I've learned that worked over time. But I would simply, why are you not bringing my child to school? Or we need to figure out a solution for this because you can't be just doing that, not really saying anything specifically. But if I would have taken it and made it more specific, like, hey, Mariah has a lot of absences. What can I do to help? What are some things that we can do to make sure that she gets to school? Keeping it child-centered. All right. So let's go to the next one. And this one is another key strategy. And it's to choose the right time and medium to have these conversations. Timing is everything, right? Trying to discuss a serious topic when one of you is stressed, tired, distracted is a recipe for disaster. So take a moment to consider, is this conversation best had over the phone, face-to-face, or maybe even through email if the topic requires some extra thought? The goal is to make sure both of you are in the right frame of mind to have a productive conversation. And the crazy thing is most people will just go straight at your throat. Mothers, dads, y'all will go straight at each other's throats to say, all right, let's talk. Like, I want to talk now. Let's fix this now. And if you don't want to fix this, that means you don't care about your kid or you don't care about me and blah, blah, blah. Like, if it's not in the right medium and maybe, you haven't done the healing that you need to do and you're not in the mindset to do these different things and make these things happen, but y'all got to communicate that. Hey, I'm not making the amount of money that I said I was going to make, that I wanted to make, that I said I was going to do something and I can't do it. But having that conversation in the right time, in the right medium, whether it be email, text message, calls, if it's something quick that can be done quick, text message doesn't require any emotional syntax or deep thought, text message is fine. If it requires a thoughtful answer, maybe not a lot of thought, maybe it's not really deep, do a call, have a call or face-to-face that if you have time to do that. And if it's something that's life-threatening or something regarding the life of your child and you just want to keep it, keep tabs and keep, your emails or keep your communication tracked, use email because it's important that you keep that communication in the right medium. And finally, practice positive reinforcement. This one does not get enough attention, but can work wonders for your co-parenting dynamic. Acknowledge the effort your co-parent puts in, even if it's small. A simple, "Hey, I appreciate how you handled the situation with the school this week," can go a long way. Positive reinforcement encourages more cooperative behavior and helps foster a more supportive atmosphere for both of you, and ultimately for your child. And I know some of you fathers are out there like, "Yo, man, I can't get this to save my life from the mother of my child." But the reality is that you don't have to get it to offer it. You can set a stage by simply encouraging. You'll knock down quite a bit of walls whenever you may need some support on something, or maybe you need to communicate some specific, to knock down those walls down. Give some positive reinforcement. "Hey, I appreciate when, thank you for dropping her off when I couldn't go pick her up because my car was messing up. I appreciate you coming through on that nature." And then you could still come back and say, "Okay, but what else can we do there's this other piece that we need to work on. What else can we do to accommodate that?" It's always a constant conversation, but you got to keep the door revolving. And the way you keep that door revolving is by continuously positively reinforcing each other as partners. So to recap, use I statements, be clear and specific, choose the right time and medium, and remember to practice that positive reinforcement. These strategies can take your communication from combative to collaborative, helping you and your co-parent create a more stable, nurturing environment for your child. Wow, fellas, we've covered a lot today. Clear, positive communication, active listening, and empathy. These aren't just skills, they're the foundation of a strong child-centered co-parenting relationship. And remember, communication is an ongoing process. It's not about being perfect, but about making an effort to listen, understand, and work together for the well-being of your child. Now, as you start putting these strategies into practice, just know that there will be bumps along the way. Co-parenting isn't always about smooth sailing, and conflicts are bound to happen. That's why next week, we'll be talking about how to navigate conflict using the communication strategies we discussed today. We'll dive into how you can keep the focus on your child even when things get heated, and the best ways to de-escalate tension before it becomes a bigger issue. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. Well, in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to 15 Minutes with Dad on your favorite podcast platform so you'll never miss an episode. And if you haven't already, follow us on social media at 15minuteswithdad.com for more tips, insights, and updates on upcoming episodes. And you can also join the conversation live every Friday during our Dad Let's Chat call-in segment. Bring your questions and stories, and let's connect. Until next time, dads, keep working towards that positive, peaceful co-parenting relationship. Your child will thank you for it. And just like that, we've hit an end of another epic journey here at 15 Minutes with Dad. I'm your host, Lirec, and I am thrilled to have shared this time with you. But guess what? The conversation is far from over. Want to dive deeper into the Dadverse? Check out our website at 15minuteswithdad.com and join our vibrant community on Instagram, Discord, and TikTok for your daily dose of dad inspiration, camaraderie. And here's something special. Subscribe to our newsletter at 15minuteswithdad.com for exclusive goodies and behind-the-scenes peeks you won't find anywhere else. Got a burning question or a dad moment that made you proud? We're all ears. Submit your questions and share those special moments with us for a chance to be featured and shout out on our show. It's your time to shine in our dad community, so tap in with our Discord, and our server is at 15 Minutes with Dad. So tap in for that. Engage with the community, and you will be featured on our show. Each week we will do another feature, so join in. Love today's episode. Spread the love by sharing it with a friend and leaving us a review. Let's get the word out and grow our awesome dad family, because guess what? When you give us a review and you rate our podcast, you give everybody the chance to enjoy what you've enjoyed about this podcast as well. So mark your calendars, because new episodes drop every Thursday of the week. Ready for more heartwarming stories, laughs, and dad wisdom? We can't wait to have you back. But until next time, keep being the amazing dad you are. Every day is a new adventure, and every moment is special. Catch you on the next episode. Love, peace, and chicken grease.